This time on Watchers of Tomorrow, the Picard boys are at it again!
Hello, welcome to Watchers of Tomorrow, the sci-fi review and critique show that puts the trauma in family. My name is Gap, and I'm joined as always by my friend and co-host, Dr. Isix.
Hi!
And this week we are following up. We're doing character development, which I hear is something that they didn't invent until DS9.
Gasp!
But I guess everyone missed this season.
Yeah, this is, DS9 does get a lot of credit there for character development and, long-running plot on things like that, but they were doing that in TNG here as just, not the main focus most of the time. And so, we're going to have a follow-up of sorts, so this is kind of like Best of Both Worlds Part 3.
Yeah, people don't want to pay attention to character development episodes unless it's quasi-serialized, I don't know, like 15-part episodes. And I personally am so sick of serialized television that I blame DS9 for starting it. Even though I don't think it's really its fault.
Yeah, I still have a place in my heart for serialized myself, but sometimes folks don't know how to write it, so it does kind of suffer more and more these days.
I will just say, I got burnt out on serialized TV way back in the beginning, during the fourth time that Battlestar Galactica was running its damned "who is the actual last this time Cylon."
There's maybe a reason I didn't get into Battlestar Galactica there, so...
It's like everyone. It's like fucking Oprah. You're a Cylon. You're a Cylon.
Because, yeah, especially at that point, I'm like hearing some of the advertising for it. I'm like, this seems silly? Because aren't the Cylons supposed to be like an external threat generally? So if everybody's a Cylon inside your own ship, what's the point of the show?
Well, you don't see, we've turned it into a clever metaphor for somehow post 9/11 paranoia, which is indistinguishable from communist Cold War paranoia.
Yeah, it's almost like people didn't know how to write paranoia without it being all just internal paranoia about, anybody could be a threat, as opposed to, we're trying to survive here on an isolated group of folks with, limited resources, with, powerful enemies pursuing us.
Yeah. 9/11 ruined television, and that's why Enterprise was the worst Star Trek.
Sorry, Jesse. There's parts of Enterprise I do like, but yeah, there's so much of it. I'm like, just big head scratchers here. Anyway.
But right now we're talking about Family, the 1990 episode, back when our biggest problem was that we had too much money and everyone worked in an office.
Mm-hmm. And that was the worst thing imaginable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry, we make fun of it, but we're losing that the gist of that critique was that getting everything that the system tells you will make you happy doesn't make you happy, and that's still a valid critique now. We're just mad that we aren't getting the things that the system says will make us happy.
Yeah, it's like we're being offered something and not getting even the crumbs,
Yeah, but if you did get the thing, you'd still be unhappy, is the thing we should be taking away from 90s media.
Yep.
But instead, we're just mad about it.
Office Space isn't sci-fi, unfortunately, but it might be something interesting to talk about at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you want to... I guess you could, maybe fit in Fight Club if you stretched it. I mean, you could probably make a better argument. You could make a better argument for... what was that one? Wanted with the assassins.
I don't remember that one.
That one was really bad. The one with Angelina Jolie and the curving bullets.
Oh yeah, and the mystical loom that predicted the future. And
yeah,
stuff.
that one.
Yeah, I don't know if mystical looms count as sci-fi.
Hard to say.
Curving bullets. Yeah.
Anyway, we're still talking about Star Trek, probably.
Yes, in the 90s.
So this was a follow-up to Best of Both Worlds. They went, what if Picard had trauma? Which, interestingly, for the 90s, for the, 1990, early 90s, this is, an unheard of concept.
Yeah.
It's not like now where every episode of every TV show ever is, but what if they got trauma?
And this is, if you want to, I guess, blame someone, blame this pretty good episode of Star Trek for all that.
Yeah. So this was written by Ronald D. Moore, who we've talked about too often because he wrote a lot of episodes and he was a co-producer at this time, so I'm not going over it again.
Yes. If we want to, add anything else, he is executive producing, some stuff for all of mankind.
Yeah, I feel like we just need to do individual tiny episodes that we can link to, like YouTube shorts for all of the producers, because this isn't like original series where every other week was somebody's random silly-ass spec script. This is like people who work for the network now.
Yes. Apparently is an upcoming writer for Star Wars Underworld.
Oh, that sounds bad.
And God of War TV series, apparently.
Oh, that sounds worse.
Swiss Family Robinson.
No, you just no. That's not a good. Don't do that. Don't
no
do
more.
That. Don't do
no
white.
More.
Well, even apart from it being a weird thing to reboot, do you really want to do white colonialist family gets to take over an uninhabited tropical island? That's the thing that you want to do right now?
Yeah, apparently that's what Disney wants to do right now, so that's where we're at.
All right. Are we going to release a bunch of random animals on a peninsula somewhere again?
Maybe? I guess we'll find out.
Anyway, we need to get on task for a second, because this episode has way too many guest stars.
Yes. So, who shows up?
So, we have Jimmy Kemp playing Robert Picard, who's Captain Picard's brother. He began acting in the late 50s in radio dramas. He was on several weird TV shows called Z-Cars and an old British cop show. He was also on Space 1999 and The Greatest American Hero. And Conan the Adventurer.
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes he was on an episode of.
He had prominent roles in some stuff in the 60s and 70s, including Dr. Terror's House of Horror and The Blue Max.
Pope Joan.
Also, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, which is one I've heard of.
Yes, think I may have seen part of that, thanks to my mom.
Then we have Samantha Edgar, who's playing Marie Picard. Her first major role was in 1965 in the psychological horror film The Collectors. She also appeared in Dr. Dolittle, I'm not sure which one, honestly, and Cronenberg's The Brood.
Ooh, broody. She also was involved with Hercules.
Which one?
Haha! The video game, TV series as Hera. Looks like
the Legendary Journeys, or the...
the animated. So and as well
animated
as the
Hercules. Okay,
Disney's
animated Hercules that they. Back when every animated thing that Disney made had to have some sort of spin-off where the characters were in fantasy high school.
Yes. Going on adventures and learn lessons today. Ooh, the Hemingway play. I never thought he wrote a play.
Everyone wrote a play if you wait long enough.
Oh no, Ronald D. Moore.
Also, we have David Tristan Birkin playing Rene Picard, who was a child actor at the time. Appeared in 2 episodes of Star Trek. Later on, he played young Picard, which is interesting. He also was in the films Return of the Musketeers and All the Queen's Men. He's now mostly a photographer and performance artist, so got out of that acting racket.
He's also in Les Miserables.
Oh, cool. Which one?
The one from the 90s.
Too many of those.
Also something called Our House, episode
in the middle of Our
1,
Street.
2, and 3. I think so. It's apparently a series of shorts, but I'm not sure what these are about.
All right, sure. Then Theodore, I think Bickle, I'm sorry if I'm butchering whatever language that is supposed to be, is playing Sergei Rezhenko. He's an Austrian-American actor, singer, composer, unionist. Played in The Milkman before moving to London, where he was a well-known folk singer. Also played Captain Von Trapp in the original Broadway run of The Sound of Music.
Huh. He's Austrian, so I guess it makes sense.
Also performed in Fiddler on the Roof more times than any other actor.
It's like, I thought I recognized him from somewhere. Yeah, he's been in tons of stuff. Twilight Zone. Yeah,
The African Queen, My Fair Lady, the 1952 Moulin Rouge, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yeah. Knight Rider, The Return of the King as Aragorn in the animated one, the 1981.
Okay. See, people complain very rightly about how nothing is original and all movies are remakes and reboots and whatever now, but we've been doing it since the 50s.
Yes. I guess maybe it's time for a remake of Columbo, which Probably. He was also an actor in. So
I'm shocked that we have not gotten a remake of Columbo with Indeed. How popular that got.
Oh, he was also in Babylon 5 in the beginning.
Everyone was on Babylon 5. I feel like eventually everyone's on Babylon 5 or Law & Order.
Yes, he was also on Law & Order.
Yeah.
Roughly the same time.
And we have Georgina Brown playing Helena Rozhenko. Georgina Brown was a stage name she took during her time as a nightclub singer. Also took an acting break and moved into musical theater. She played Lucy in the Threepenny Opera. Also had a role as Nancy in the original Oliver. In the 60s, she did films like A Study in Terror and Lock Up Your Daughters.
Oh my. Yeah, there's a certain vibe of films sort of in that era where, that was kind of just how they set up the title.
Yeah, apparently becoming disillusioned with the roles that she could get as a woman, she co-conceived the idea of a series called Shoulder to Shoulder, which detailed the women's suffrage movement. And then she'd do more limited stuff in the 70s and 80s, where she moved back to stage musicals and did a bunch of guest roles on TV during that time, like on things like Murder, She Wrote and Cheers and this, obviously.
Yes. So, a bit of a slowdown in the mid to late 70s there.
I have a problem with this, because I want to mention, like, there's just too much. She did a lot of really cool shit. It's hard to synopsize in less than an hour.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of amazing how many cool people we run into here that we could just do an entire episode about, and they're just the guest stars here.
Well, it's kind of interesting, because every time you get a guest star on this show, it's either this dude was just a guest star in 80s and 90s TV, and then you get people who are a little bit older, and it's like, this guy founded the Actors Union.
Yep. And, personally had to, get in a fist fight with Richard Nixon to make sure they got their, their contract settled.
Yeah. It's either did a lot of acting roles in the 90s or had a fight with Richard Nixon over union rights. Made a TV show for women because women weren't getting good film roles.
Indeed. So,
all right, two more. We've only got two more.
So hats off to you then.
Dennis Cragen plays Lewis. He began acting in the 80s with small parts in The Elephant Man and a series of TV show guest starring things and TV movies. He was in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Thankfully, that's caused world peace, and we've never had problems again.
Yeah. And he's still getting guest work. He's been on Law & Order, of course, and something called Evil.
Evil! One episode of.
And finally...
Law & Order and, usual stuff there.
Finally, we have Doug Wirt, who's playing Jack Crusher. He was in several soap operas in the 80s and 90s, would do a lot of TV movies in that era. He was on an episode of Stargate SG-1, and of course he was on Law & Order.
Yeah.
When you have also, 2,000 episodes, you need a lot of guest stars.
Yes. He also has the one of the largest foreheads you'll ever see. It's like his head is just like extra long above his face. It's a little weird,
he didn't even need the alien makeup.
Yep. He's also in something called Hellfire. That sounds delightful.
Okay, now that we've spent, that's like half of our normal episode runtime on guest stars. Yep. I mean, I guess also we were procrastinating, but we do that.
I also didn't do my usual Cole Meany joke there.
Yeah, because he's also there because he has to greet everyone who comes on board for Family Day.
The role of transporter chief.
So this is one of the better written stories from the season, but there's not actually a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to truncate this a little bit because it has like 5 pages of guest stars and everyone's doing stuff, so it's going to be hard to follow along. So know that there's actual really good character work going on, but if you just describe the story, it doesn't sound like there's a lot going on.
Indeed. It's really the meat of the episode is in those interactions, those moments, and to just sort of describe them on a podcast doesn't really work.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see Star Trek doing character shit, like, watch this episode. So Enterprise is still at Earth because, they were fighting the Borg at Earth, but they were already there, so they need to get repaired and stuff. So they have a big spidery looking space dock thing.
Getting all around the Enterprise here, so it's all pretty obvious like this thing unfolds somehow.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because they always go like, well, the Galaxy class ship is the biggest thing that we've ever built, but then we have the dry dock that of course has to be bigger than it to fit. And then we have the thing that had to build that, I guess, and then...
Yeah. And then there's star bases that are, can contain a whole bunch of Galaxy-class ships, and they're just freaking huge.
Yeah, the frickin' star bases, and no one comments on the star bases in this thing, but that has got to be, like, the single largest engineering project ever undertaken by anyone.
Yep.
Like, that thing is the size of multiple cities.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they show it, and I mean, I hate the way that they show it in Strange New Worlds, even though it looks kind of cool, because like they built mountains in it. It's like, that's a cool visual, but why?
I think there is a brief line in one of the episodes that the terrain features there were launched during the period of the Third World War to try to preserve some part of Earth in case everything went bad. So I guess they were launched up.
Yeah, so they built this thing somehow pre-warp during the Third World War when everything was getting all apocalypsy. Like, what are we even saying about the timeline at this point? Also, that's the plot of that... what is that movie called? That's the plot of that movie where they sent all the forests up into space.
I'm not remembering that one.
It's the little robot dudes. It's a space station that's just all of the Earth's remaining forests, and there's some little robot guys, and they want to destroy it because it's not profitable to keep the forests in orbit anymore. And the one guy who's running the thing, like, rebels against them. I know this movie.
It's not ringing bells properly for me. Sorry.
Silent Running. Silent Running, 1972 film about an American ecology-themed sci-fi film, directorial debut of Douglas Turnbull.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about a space station where they keep all of Earth's remaining forests.
Oh, can we put them back on Earth?
No, it's not allowed. They were going to blow them up because it's not profitable. It's very political, you see.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm done complaining about space stations. I gave up on this season of Strange New Worlds when Trelane showed up.
Now, I will say for this season, the second to last episode I really liked because it left me very upset. in the wow, what a dick move. Anyway.
So everyone's excited to be back on Earth for shore leave. Worf is surprised to find that his parents are visiting, and he doesn't want them there because no human can understand the dishonor of being kicked out of Klingon society.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, cool.
Even though, yeah.
Picard's also planning a vacation because he's going back to his home village. Village seems like a strong word here. We'll see you later. Troy finds this interesting because he's still recovering from being kidnapped by the Borgs.
Yeah, so he got the strip things that were on his face removed, but, there's still probably stuff going on that should be concerned about.
The Worf waits around for his parents. O'Brien tries to bond with him about how much everyone hates their parents because apparently O'Brien's dad chased a nurse around sickbay.
Well, that's
awkward. A really good thing we fixed all that sexism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, O'Brien seems to have a complicated relationship with his family. Yeah.
Yeah. O'Brien's just the character they put any random thing they want on, so he winds up with a very strange backstory.
Yes. It's like, oh, he's a cellist with a creepy dad, and we'll have things crop up later, too. And he was a war hero, but also hated that he's a war hero, and yeah.
So Worf's parents are just happy to be here. His dad, Sergei, used to be a CPO and has memorized all the ship's blueprints, and his mom is just trying to keep him from embarrassing himself.
It's like, holy smokes, a Galaxy-class ship. I want to, look at all the things.
So Picard arrives in France, where he is accosted on the road by a small yet intrepid robber, or rather his very small uncle, Rene.
It becomes a little bit of a running joke through the episode.
They did a pretty good job about making this cute, which is kind of interesting considering all of the I don't know how to act around children stuff seems to disappear. I mean, I guess he's maybe just at that cutoff age.
This person is starting to become something near an adult, so maybe I can interact with them better. Maybe it's different that it's someone he technically knows.
I mean, they do get a little bit of a thing later that they do seem to be very, very similar personality-wise. So it might be that he acts like a small adult, which is upsetting his parents.
Yeah. I guess Picard has been acting as a small adult his entire life, too,
That seems to be the implication. So he finds Marie, who's a sister-in-law, and tells him that his brother Robert's out working on the grapevines. As they vineyard, you see.
Indeed.
Robert's not exactly happy to see him, but he's pretty indifferent about his brother being home for the first time in years.
Yes. It's been so many years.
Seems like multiple years. It's unclear whether or not he has been back to Earth since this kid was born.
So there's maybe a little head scratcher there, but in the end, not really important.
Yeah. Also, this entire thing is weird. They're running a vineyard by hand. I do think this calls into question some of the whole nobody owns anything thing. This family has a massive amount of land.
So I guess there's maybe some sort of grandfathering in that if your family, owned this when, at the end of capitalism there, you got to keep it, I guess.
I mean, it does seem like they're just sort of doing this guy likes making wine, let's give him the place to make wine thing. It is his passion. We just strive to better ourselves and others by making them drunk.
Yep. And who knows, with replicator technology, maybe, farming is kind of like a pastiche at this point, so they're like, have fun, we don't need the land.
Yeah, most people get their food from replicators, and you have 3 farms that supply Cisco's restaurant in where was that? Not San Francisco or somewhere else?
Louisiana. New Orleans.
Yeah. So you have 3 farms that supply the couple of weirdos who are still cooking by hand.
And maybe there's a cultural preservation sort of part of the Federation Constitution where, if you are doing something, like this explicitly, you get to keep the land.
Anyway, there's ways to make it work. They never explain anything on this show, which I guess makes it better.
You can use your imagination to fill in the blanks.
Back on the ship, Dr. Crusher gets a box of old stuff from Earth storage, and in that box is a hologram from Jack, who's Wesley's dead dad. Wesley, we'll get to see that later. It's not really important. She kind of whines about it off and on for the whole episode, but most of that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like, what should I show this to him? Is this something he really needs?
He's just getting over the trauma, and this will make more trauma, and it's not like we have a dedicated counselor on board who's good at her job.
Yeah. Plus, the kids at the academy these days, they probably have other counselors, so, if not Troy, somebody else.
He's going to join the military. I think trauma is a given at this point.
So, just deal with it, Beverly.
So, Sergei is in engineering, telling embarrassing stories about how Worf beat up 5 teenage boys as a child, and then insists on hanging around to see the warp core.
I want to see it pulse.
But it's mostly an excuse to be alone with Geordi so they can talk about how Worf's doing, because he's moodier than usual.
Yeah, and, Worf is either kind of lightly brooding or moody, and, he's very much moody right now.
So in France, the Picards are all sitting down to dinner. Jean-Luc can't guess what the wine is, and Robert goes, I'm being snooty in French, but in a British way.
Because accents, they're weird here, I guess.
No, it's because they're family. moved from England? We had to explain this for some reason.
I
like the thing where Maria Sirtis just said that she believes that this indicates that some point in the future history of Star Trek, England finally took over France.
They asserted their claim to the throne of France, and there you go.
Yeah. Hey, Robert's against modern things like synthahol and replicated food because no one cooks anymore, and it's too convenient, and kids these days just don't want to work.
If you have a machine do the work of a man, then you take the work something away from the child who would be doing that work.
I don't know. We still have conservatives, which is deeply troubling. A deeply troubling view of the future.
Well, at the very least, he doesn't seem to be causing a ruckus about it, other than inside his own home.
Yeah, which is still not great.
Yeah.
But I agree it's an old argument. Renee tries to change the subject because he wrote a report or something for school about starships. And then that doesn't help because it's just too much like Jean-Luc for good old Robert. And goes, stupid Jean-Luc corrupting my children. I don't want them to go to space, which is a very normal thing for people to do now.
And corrupting him by not being here until today. And so this report that was written obviously before today was completely his fault.
Yeah, why'd you have to go be a successful starship captain? Why couldn't you just stay here and look at dirt like I do?
And, twist vines around things and, tie them up and, do that.
So the next day, Jean-Luc meets an old friend, Louis, who's one of the supervisors on something called the Atlantis Project, which wants to rise up a piece of the ocean floor and study it, which does seem like it would do a massive amount of ecological damage.
Yes. So it kind of begs the question of why?
Yeah.
Because, you have, super ultra tech. You can do your crazy deep, the Sequest-style submersibles at this point, right?
How do you not have submarines that are at least as good as your spaceships?
Yeah. You could go down there, build a big dome under the ocean, pump all the water out, and have the same thing here, Louis.
Yeah. It's just, it's an odd thing. Also, if you get a part of the seafloor to come to the surface, everything on it will be very dead. Mm-hmm. Like aggressively dead.
Yes. So I'm not sure what they're going to be studying exactly, because you're going to be messing up the geology as well.
Feels like what you should do is just give people those force field belts from the animated series and send them down there.
Yeah. And then you're good to go. You can wander around, get yourself a light, and it might be dark.
They
made
the Delta Flyer capable of going to super extreme depths, even more than any ocean on Earth. Mm-hmm. Seems like you should be able to do this.
Yes. So obviously there's something else going on here, Gapwin. This is all excuses for some sort of a plan involving lifting a bit of territory from under the ocean to the surface, or maybe even further. Maybe Louis is trying to enact some sort of world domination or destruction plan or something.
This is where those mountains on the space station came from.
There we go. Yeah. They were transported back in time, so continuity is preserved.
Yeah. So what happened really is that Louis wants Jean-Luc to take over the Atlantis Project because the people in charge want someone who knows what's going on and is a good leader, etc. But he knows he'd never leave Starfleet, but at least look at the specs and maybe have a meeting, It's like a timeshare. No pressure, but, maybe come talk about all the amazing deals and opportunities and how getting a timeshare on the ocean floor will actually save you money. You'd be crazy not to do it.
You'll be able to enjoy a vacation and, you'll get benefits from it.
So Worf and his parents are talking in 10 forward for a bit. He's annoyed that they're being emotional and excited, etc. He has to leave for ship reasons, which lets Guinan come and have a little bit of a talk about Worf and, the thought of Earth as home, even though he's worried about all the stuff going on with Klingons.
Yeah, he's someone who has a large duality to him. He has a background growing up among humans, but has an intense love and appreciation for at least the ideals of his empire. So, he's split between the experience, the ideal, and the other experience he's now had with the Klingon Empire. That, these two sort of positive, but not, fully grounded here in what he kind of wants it to be, and the actual experience he's had once he's gone out there and really encountered things for himself. And, he's in a weird place right now.
And his parents are trying to do something about it that's taking him off.
Like, we don't know how to talk to him sometimes. Help!
So Jean-Luc spends a lot of time looking through Atlantis specs. He has a talk with Mori about how he's considering taking up Lewis's offer, which is kind of concerning to him since he, has everything he wants being a starship captain. Mori doesn't think it would be so bad if he was on Earth, and maybe he and Robert would start to like each other.
Or at least tolerate each other, maybe?
Lois shows up and obviously oversold Picard to the board because they now seem to be operating on the assumption that he is going to leave Starfleet and run the entire project.
Lois, slow down here. Your weird plan here is catching me off guard. What?
All right, so now we are going to start wrapping up all of the arcs. We've been futzing around for a while in this episode. So Worf's parents are hanging around in his quarters. They have a nice heart-to-heart about how they don't know anything about what Klingon stuff is supposed to do, and they can't understand what he feels about Klingons, but they did raise him as a good man, and they know that he must have done this for a good reason, and as humans they can be with him even if they're supposed to have dishonor or whatever.
So we can be here for you even if we don't understand what's going on.
Which I do kind of like. It's like, we raised you to have a conscience, so you must have done this for a good reason, and we don't have to be ashamed of you because we're not Klingons. So, loophole.
Yeah. So, we're going to give you a big thumbs up and, so you can feel, I guess, less bad?
Yeah. So Jean-Luc's very upset that he's been considering this job thing, and he gets actual drunk on real wine. And Robert's enjoying it a lot because he hates Jean-Luc and all the attention and stuff that he always got for being the best boy. And he's like, I get to see you lose some control.
Just like, I always wanted you to, have, be taken off your pedestal a little bit and have some humiliation. Ha!
So this gets Jean-Luc really mad, and he runs out into the vineyard where Robert keeps mocking him. And he says how he's always supposed to be a hero and best at everything and school president, etc., etc. And he had to be the older brother who followed all the rules and was responsible and took over the family tradition, etc., etc. And Jean-Luc then punches him, and they start fighting. They roll around in the mud and throw mud at each other.
At a very surface level, it's like, there's just two old guys fighting in the mud. These are brothers. If this was like some teenagers, it would look basically the same. The people involved would look different. It's two brothers who are going at it. There's emotional distress. There's disagreements. There's anger. And, this thing kind of happens sometimes.
And Picard breaks down and tells Robert that he's emotionally devastated because the Borg took away all of his autonomy and forced him to kill and took away everything that he was as a human.
This is revealing that, in terms of the psychological evaluations for him being, the thumbs up from Starfleet, he's still very damaged inside, and he's hurting a lot, and he's been doing this kind of silently for the most part. But here he's finally been pushed, to let that barrier fall down and kind of let it all out.
And Robert says, yeah, that sucks. This is basically, you're going to have to live with this for the rest of your life, and you can either do that in space or at the bottom of the ocean, and it's not going to make much of a difference.
Mm-hmm. So, you can go and pick either one, and you're going to have the same situation. So, good luck.
Now, on that night, Marie comes home to find mud all over the house, and the brothers are both singing drinking songs, because you see they fell down in the garden, and then he tried to help him up and fell down, and then they both got muddy.
And so, they were already too drunk to, clean up before they came inside. Yeah.
And also, Jean-Luc needs to cancel that meeting with Lewis because he's going back to the Enterprise.
So, I'm going back to space. I don't need to run away from my problems because you're right. It wouldn't actually help.
Wesley does that thing with his dad and the hologram This goes, I want you to understand who I am as a person, and hopefully we had a really long time together for you to get to know me, and I got to see the man you became. Yeah.
So, so that would be that future I'm looking forward to. That was awesome, right?
But he goes, I want you to understand that Starfleet's important, and it's important enough for me to sacrifice everything if I need to, and I hope you'll understand that one day. Then he disappears.
Well, that was a thing that happened.
Yeah. I don't know. It's mostly just good job, Wesley, for also understanding that you might need to sacrifice yourself for your ideals, just like I did.
Yeah, so do that at some point.
Even though it seems like most people who die on Starfleet just accidentally have rocks fall on them in a cave.
But their ideals, they were intact.
It's like, ow, my ideals. Jean-Luc leaves the Picards. They give him wine, and he has this long march down the path to get back to the village because he walked here. It's kind of arbitrary. They're like, I want to beam down 2 miles away so I can get a nice walk.
There's part of the historical preservation thing, no beaming in this facility because we say so.
Yeah, there's too many grapevines here. You do not want to beam into a grapevine, trust me.
Yes. Going back to Enterprise, it'd be like that one episode where they tried to beam a guy out during a major windstorm and he got leaves inside him.
Yeah, they need to do something about that.
Yeah.
Worf's getting ready to leave when Picard returns. Worf gets to introduce him to his parents. He's now proud instead of embarrassed, and Picard seems to like his parents because they're fun and excited about the ship.
Hopefully, when they visit again, we'll all get to hang out a bit more, and Picard will be like, yeah, Worf's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see everybody involved in this again later.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, everybody. Back on Earth, Renee is out dreaming under the stars, probably about starships and things, and that amazing future he's definitely going to have.
Yeah.
Because no one would kill this entire family off screen for no reason.
Yeah, because, that would be totally weird and kind of pointless, even if you're trying to make some point about, legacy at some point.
Yeah, that would be a completely pointless thing to do and ruin all of the setup you did here and not even have much of a payoff.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we look at the constellation Orion, and there we go.
Yep. So yeah, that's family. It's really good.
So yeah, check it out. We've gotten the spoilers through, but the spoilers for the plot doesn't really do it justice.
I do think that I really like the way that they handle the family stuff in this, because it's so not your normal everyone has a stupid messed up family and that's why they're good at their jobs. It's like everybody has like a fairly normal to supportive family, and that's why they're well-adjusted people who are good at what they do.
I guess the only person around with the obviously like messed up family would probably be Riker, because his dad's just kind of such a dick.
Yeah.
We got Data, who, we'll talk about his family next episode, technically, but he's an android, so not biological in nature. Wesley's mom is right here, and we talk about his, show his dad off here. Troy, we see Loxana a few times throughout the series, and
who's like
she's just
annoying but supportive.
Yes. She might have certain wants from her daughter, but at the end of the day, she's going to be backing up her daughter 100% when things get serious here. Geordi, we technically hear about his mom eventually, but in more of she was kind of a badass and a starship captain, and then something happened to make her ship vanish or something like that. So not a terrible relationship other than a tragic end. So yeah, we're kind of running out of characters here. I guess we can go to touch upon Tasha, but we'll talk about her family. So. Yeah.
The most messed up family dynamic you have in this episode is Picard and his brother. You don't hear anything about their parents, but they must have been pretty supportive of Jean-Luc if he got to where he is, and his brother hates that they supported him.
Mm-hmm. So
it is kind of an interesting one to have I guess it does just show you the human dynamics at play regardless of future technology and shit. But, like, you got to run your whole wine business. Like, did you not want to? Do you hate it? Do you resent having to run the wine business? Because I'm sure someone else would be happy to run the wine business.
Yeah. You could even technically be in charge, and, because people just kind of pick a job and they go with it, you could find someone who wants to work in the wine business, and there you go.
Yeah, do you want to just, like, do you want to go to the bottom of the ocean and grow sea grapes?
Yeah. Or raise the ocean up and grow new land grapes. But yeah, this is some solid relationships here. I think it's probably important that we talk about Picard's breakdown at least a little bit here. And that, as I was sort of talking about before, there's definitely been a bit of bottling up, which is kind of Picard's MO generally, especially in his first few seasons, of not letting himself be vulnerable at all in kind of any context. With maybe the one exception being Captain's Holiday, but even still, that's more of he's kind of interested in this lady here, so, he'll at least open up about some parts there, even though he's just kind of annoyed with the Fringies and being pulled into a Star Trek plot when he's on vacation. But, there's a certain, I guess, vibe of how people interact here in this part of Star Trek, especially in TNG, where there's a lot of sort of influence from Roddenberry's core ideas about how people should be acting and reacting at this point in the future here. That there's a certain level of stoicism being sort of demanded of everyone, and Picard's like that turned up to 11. And so, to have him open up and reveal that he's been hurt and it's very fundamental pain he's dealing with is kind of very unusual for the series at this point, but it's also, I guess, maybe a demonstration of just how much he's been hurt by the Borg, that it's able to get past all that. I
think that this shows something that we have kind of lost in our modern way of talking about trauma, because I'm not going to say that we don't talk about it better now than a lot of ways that we used to, especially in the 90s, because this was very much the infancy of that kind of thing. There's just a brief history, because I feel like people forget this. We didn't have any way of dealing with what we would call capital T trauma right now for a while. We kind of started understanding it as a concept when we were looking into the political action of Vietnam War veterans, saying something terrible happened to me and I don't have any way to deal with it.
Yeah, it's like it's like going from initial shell shock to, okay, well, I'm more capable of interacting with the world, but there's still something fundamentally broken inside, and I don't know how to deal with this.
Then we went to maybe it doesn't just happen in war, and it can happen in other circumstances too. And now we've gotten to trauma being a byword for everything, and it's more or less a useless term again. But so, I think something that we've unfortunately gotten to now is this very formulaic, one-size-fits-all idea of mental health and therapy, where we go, well, this person has trauma. They need to go see the therapist and get the prescribed therapy, and that will fix their trauma.
It's not so simple. We're not, having, like in the original series, a singular treatment that will cure all mental illness forever.
Because I think you could look at this. You could look at this episode through a modern lens and very easily go, the problem is that Picard does not want to deal with his trauma because he's resisting the therapy. But he needs to be able to process it in his own kind of way, which was realizing that he wants to try to run away from it, and then being able to confide in a trusted family member who understands it to some level and goes, well, you could run away from it, but it's not going to get you away from it.
Yeah, I guess there's a certain level of intellectual evaluation he's trying to do in order to, I guess, sort of sidestep confronting it directly. And, it's kind of Picard how he operates. If you have a problem, it's time to think about it, and we're going to find the solution and apply it to the problem, and there you go, everything's solved. But it's not quite so easy because the toolbox he's operating with is not well equipped to that. And so, the just go to therapy version of things, the one tool fits all thing is not going to work for him. And so, you need this alternative path here that he doesn't, see because he doesn't have a good relationship with his brother. And so to even conceive of his brother being helpful at all, it would be kind of baffling, from an outside, view, prior to things actually progressing here. So it's very much a, he doesn't know how to fix things. The therapist option doesn't really help. There's no one else who's able to offer up suggestions, and this is also really not going to actually fix things, but it's going to maybe let him pursue a path where things can get better at the very least for him. Things will probably never be fully quote fixed, but it will allow him to progress in life again.
I do think this is something that's a little bit subjective, but I think that the current way of thinking about stuff, where we've gotten incredibly pathologizing in all of our language and all of our ways of thinking about this stuff, kind of removes the individual ability to actually do anything about your own stuff. Because people will say stuff like, well, you get out of therapy what you put into it. You can't heal someone who doesn't want to be healed, etc. But it's more in a blamey way of if you just accepted being healed, you would be healed by now. And
it's not quite like that.
I think that something like this is actually doing a pretty good job of showing you need to figure out your own individual way to deal with this. And the thing that people around you can do is support you in figuring that out.
Yes. So, being supportive of someone, it's better to be helping folks figure out their path as opposed to just telling them, here is the answer, follow this and do it,
Because there has been a little bit of a mild critique recently of yes, therapy can be good and very helpful for a lot of things. It is good to have it more available and an option for people, but it's also has a danger of being used to replace normal human relationships with something that's very systematized.
Yeah. So I'll admit that I was seeing a counselor for a few years when I first really started having anxiety problems, and it was I would say useful, but it didn't solve my core anxiety issues. It's more of a gave me better tools in order to sort of interact with it to not have it be as much of a problem in my day-to-day life. But it's not a cure. It was a treating the symptoms, but not the cause.
I've seen some general critiques, including from therapists, where we've hit a place of why should you talk to your friend or family member about their problems, because they should be seeing a therapist for that.
Well, maybe they already are. You don't know.
Also, even if they're not, then you shouldn't have to pay someone and go to a doctor to be able to have a conversation with a supportive person. That's what we used to get from, peer-to-peer relationships.
Yeah. So it's okay to, be the person who is listening to somebody else, being there for them, and to just try to offload all that and demand that they take it to some stranger isn't necessarily fair to folks. Okay, sure, sometimes you have your own stuff going on, and helping somebody else with theirs can be potentially, disruptive to yourself and harmful and all that. But sometimes it might actually be good for both of you. So do consider it, I guess, and then figure out if it works or not. But just don't be, I guess, flippant.
We could have a larger discussion about the way that needing to pay someone to have a conversation works into our capitalist idea about all things being payable labor. That, in general, we just need to have less of a pathologized view of literally everything in the world, because it leads to this very one-size-fits-all prescriptive way of trying to deal with something that's very, very individual.
Going a little bit further from psychology, from time to time, I've had some minor medical concerns, I suppose you can call them, from my regular doctor, and it's like, you should be doing this. Well, I already am. Well, it should be working. Well, my one solution doesn't seem to be fixing it, so moving on. It's like, well, no, what? Thanks, I guess. And then later, when it's like, oh, there's this other thing that's kind of slightly off, maybe we can try this, and wow, it actually seems to have fixed two problems. Maybe they were related. Maybe you sort of how you sort of put this the pathological view forward, that this is the cause and effect all contained within this one thing, isn't maybe necessarily a useful view in order to interact with me specifically. Maybe in the general sense, you're more likely to get things right if you do that, but sometimes you need to tailor things more for an individual basis here. So, yeah. Sometimes people are slightly different, and doing things differently for them is okay.
Everyone's very different, and we want to turn everything into an assembly line because it's easier. And everyone's underpaid and overworked, and that's why doctors are bad, and that's why you can't get good mental health shit, and that's why you have so much burnout in caring professions. So
maybe if we had the profit motive not be infecting all this and making everyone miserable, it would be more able to have folks be able to take the time to study what's actually going on better,
or actually talk to each other.
Yeah. So I guess my argument is, why not both?
Because I think that today you could see a version of this episode be where Picard has to be bullied into going to therapy.
Which is kind of a dull plot, but yeah.
Which, I've seen this before, and it would be a lot less interesting than him having to contend with his family relationships and fix the problems that he has with his brother, and being able to solve both his familial problem and his trauma problem at the same time.
Maybe there's something to be said about, when you have a massive injury like this, that maybe sometimes the thing to do when you're trying to recover is to focus on a smaller problem relatively, so that you can maybe help build up your tool set in order to tackle the bigger one.
I think it depends on the thing. I think that the large thing that you can see happening in this episode is him repairing familial connections that then get him a broader support group of people that deeply understand him and are able to help him work through his problems.
So, Picard, be better about your family and people in your life.
Which is especially good for this because, he's Captain Man, so he can't really have that kind of peer-to-peer relationship with anybody else on the show.
There's still going to be a superior officer problem with having your counselor on ship here. So, you really need to find a friend. And, oh, hey, Guinan's over here. But also, she's technically a worker on the ship, too?
Yeah, but she had to deal with Worf's parents in this one. So.
Oh, yeah, she was busy.
She was busy dealing with Worf's parents.
Maybe it would have been awesome just to have an episode of Picard and Guinan just hanging out one day, talking about various things that have happened, and be they things in previous episodes or, stuff going on for, more recently that we haven't actually seen yet. And heck, maybe we could have replaced Shades of Grey entirely with an episode like that.
That could have been way better.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they keep... you could have had any of that kind of thing instead of a damned clip show. Just do a bottle episode with two characters. I'm sure it costs about the same.
Yeah. We already have you on, retainer, as they say, and so just sit in a room in here and look like you're drinking and just talk for a while. So, Gepwin, when are we gonna hang out in the room together and just talk for a while?
I don't know. We always record in separate states.
Yes. I don't currently have any plans to travel to New York. Sorry. Maybe in the future. So, got anything else we should touch upon?
Oh, that was... I don't know. That's everything that I thought of, because it's a very deal with your trauma episode.
Oh, I'd say it's a pretty important part of it. I guess I will appreciate that they are taking some time for the technical stuff of the ship to be sort of handled in not real time, but this is taking more than just the usual time between episodes to fix things up. Far too often in stuff they're like, oh, suddenly everything's back to normal and we can progress with the next plot and everything's fine. Like, no, the Enterprise has been kind of through the ringer, and well, there's the whole ruined fleet problem going on, so they maybe want to make sure their ships are in good top shape, and so good on that for having that be I guess part of the plot impetus for allowing this entire episode to happen.
I think they have. I think that you often get like they probably spent more time in between episodes than you assume they did.
Yeah.
But this is always like a good excuse if you want to do a more sort of bottle episode. Go, oh yeah, good. You need a chance to not move the ship around.
If you're going nowhere fast today, good luck. Though I will point out that Roddenberry didn't much care for this episode or this concept, so yeah.
Oh, Roddenberry is not always perfect.
Yes.
Especially at this time when his health was kind of failing, which is unfortunate.
So Chateau Picard wine is actually like a thing you can actually buy, by the way.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. For a Star Trek party when I was in grad school, one of my roommates got some as part of the drink selection. And it was probably one of the more normal drinks on the table set up there. So there was Tranya from the original series, the Carbonite Maneuver, which was like some mixture of orange sort of drinks, like orange juice, Sunny D, just kind of all in various proportions. There was some Earl Grey tea, which no one actually bothered to brew up. And there was a couple others, like a Romulan ale. I forget what that one was put into that. But maybe the most off-putting one that at least several people had to try was the Klingon blood wine, which was a mix of wine, prune juice, which was also available, by the way, and chunks of Jell-O.
Oh, fun!
Yep, to give that coagulative sort of vibe to it. So,
I mean, I guess you would hit vegetarian problems, but you can get blood.
Yeah,
you could put blood in it.
Yeah, in fact, there's alcoholic drinks out in the world that contain some percentage of blood. So that's like a thing that humans do too. We didn't watch this episode for that party though. we did watch the game. I don't remember which other episodes we watched though. Anyway,
never been able to go to like the actual Star Trek party. I always wanted to do a First Contact Day party.
The future looks bright. There's always opportunities.
Does the future look bright?
It's so bright you gotta wear shades, so I'm not sure if that's because it's actually a good future or
it's exploding.
Yes.
Anyway, I think we've gotten bleak. When we get bleak, it usually means that it's time for the galaxy's favorite game show! Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome to the galaxy's favorite game show. Our various contestants have been racking up some points, and despite the ship not going very far, I think they've all gone pretty far individually. So let's find out who's been winning what. So first off, the first prize is the Berserker Button prize, which goes to Picard. Though it does take a bit of jabbing at it from his brother first to really set him off. What does he win, Gepwin?
Picard wins a Federation gravity combat reassessment, because I get it. You're the captain. You're both drunk old guys, but you had to take field martial arts to get through the academy, you should be able to beat this guy very easily. Like, even if you're not trying to hurt him, an amount of combat training that you should have been through should make it so that you're not struggling this much to fight your drunk brother.
True. Though Picard might have considered using like some sort of far future touch of death on him, and it's like, maybe I should just slap him around for a bit first. And I slipped. Our second prize is the after-school special prize, which goes to Worf, because he's learning that he doesn't have to suffer alone. There's people in his life who care about him, even if they don't understand the nuances of Klingon politics and honor code stuff, and they love him. So Worf, you're gonna be okay, Worf. Come on now. What does Worf win?
Worf wins. We've had a lot of fun this episode, but discommendation from the Klingon Empire is a serious topic that affects literally one person a year.
So watch out for that. Our final prize is the supervillain plot prize, which goes to Lewis and his plan to raise his own Atlantis from the ocean floor. Nothing in the world can stop him now! Ha 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 ha! What does he win?
Lewis wins some sort of Federation EPA, because they need an EPA. I don't know what they think this is going to accomplish, but it's going to probably destroy the planet.
Or at least damage it a lot, yeah.
Like, that would probably fuck up at least a decent amount of your wind in the ocean and, like, lead to some weird compounding environmental effects that you're not ready for. It's not going to be good.
Yeah. In fact, my statement there about nothing in the world can stop him now is a reference to a Doctor Who plot, 60s era, about a guy who was trying to raise Atlantis from the ocean floor and how it would destroy the world. So this is obviously not something that people have not thought about being a terrible idea before. So, there's that.
Also, Atlantis is racist.
So anyway, that's all I got here for folks today, Geppo, and feel free to take us away.
Yes, thank you for joining us on this ocean floor raising episode of the galaxy's favorite game show.
Woo! Next episode contains a very lame joke.
Yep.
Then
a very weird song.
Wait, no. I forget. We're going to get Data.
And Data.
Mm-hmm. Brett Spiner.
Yeah, we're going to have an easy time with the guest stars next time.
Yeah. Because it's Brent Spiner all the way down, and plus some random kid.
Spiners all the way down.
We're going to get more Brent Spiner than we're used to, and it's going to be pretty awesome. And that might explain why he wasn't in this episode we covered today.
Yeah, maybe.
He's maybe like busy recording this next one.
The one thing that I remember the most from the next episode, which is brothers, because we're having a family-themed season here, is everybody talked about this episode as, holy shit, how did they do that? Which I was kind of thinking about because I recently saw Sinners. Mm-hmm. And this episode from the 90s was, oh my god, one guy playing three characters so seamlessly with them interacting and shit. It's, oh my god, look at them do that. And then I'm watching Sinners and going like, I can't tell that this is the same actor. How are they doing that? Jesus. They're touching each other. They hand each other shit.
Yeah. It's pretty slick.
Anyway, I think the takeaway is you should see Sinners.
I've not seen it myself, but I've heard many a great thing about it.
It's a really good movie.
Check it out, and then come back and listen to the next podcast.
Yeah.
Here of Watch It Up Tomorrow.
Come back and listen to us talk about Brothers. And maybe and Michael B. Jordan. Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah.
You can find out.
Maybe we can do a 6 degrees of separation thing.
Yeah. Just makes me think that they need to let them make Blade.
There we go.
Anyway, next time we have Brent Spiner and Brent Spiner and Brent Spiner
Together at last.
We don't get Brent Spiner and Brent Spiner yet, but they'll show up in later movies and some of the bad TV shows.
There's also, the two-parter later in TNG. And yeah,
TNG two-parter, the one episode of Enterprise, a very ill-conceived plot line in the first season of Picard.
Second.
Oh, yeah, second. No, the first season had...
Data there, too.
He had Data stuff in the first season.
Yeah.
The first season... Didn't the first season end with him doing the whole body thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's the plot you're talking about, not the second season. Anyway.
There was an ill-conceived Data subplot in every season of Picard.
Just, what levels and focus are we talking about here?
Yeah, like the entire concept of Star Trek Picard was an ill-conceived Data plotline. Someone sat down in a boardroom and said, what if we make Star Trek Picard, but Data? And then they went, yeah, that'll sell to someone.
So, we'll get Patrick Stewart in here and also Data.
Yeah. Anyway, the next one's good. It's not like Star Trek Picard. It's good. Also has a song that haunted me. It's like, why? So, why did they pick this song? Why did they use this song? It's such a weird-ass song.
So I guess we'll be getting haunted next week.
Yep. But not in the sexy way, like with that episode where Crusher fucks a ghost.
Which I was actually thinking about the other day, and how it's kind of vibes with Wolf of the Fold from the original series. But anyway.
Yeah, a little bit. Same ghost. Little known fact. That ghost, Jack the Ripper.
Or, maybe they were brothers. Anyway, but speaking of brothers.
Jacob the Ripper. Jimmy the Ripper. Jimmy rips to his friends.
Jimmy rips.
Anyway, I'm apparently tired, so... Next time,
maybe we should wrap this up. Yeah.
Brothers and brothers and brothers who are all trying to kill each other. It's a theme. Mm-hmm.
Next time on Watchers of Tomorrow, Data Loss and You. You have been listening to Watchers of Tomorrow, a podcast on science fiction media. Find and listen to Watchers of Tomorrow on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Digital Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Google Play, and many more places where podcasts can be found. If you enjoyed our podcast, make sure to subscribe for more. And make sure to rate your experience or leave us a review. You may find Gepwin on YouTube as Gepwin and on Pillow Fort. You may find Dr. Isix, on YouTube and Blue Sky. Music is Waveform and Mori's Principle, both by DRKRN, and Quirky Dog by Kevin MacLeod. Check out the Watchers of Tomorrow Discord channel. You may also find Watchers of Tomorrow on Tumblr. Make sure to share the experience of Watchers of Tomorrow with your friends, loved ones, enemies, alien overlords, and your doppelganger from the mirror dimension. Have a good day, and ahead, warp factor heckin' fast.